All right, so today we're going to be talking about integration of your AI interface into the different modules here. So out of the box, you have the ability, of course, to integrate into Google Assistant. Chris AI isn't integrated into Google Assistant because when I launch it in Google Assistant, I want it to be perfect. And throughout conversation, it is, the majority of the time, and it gets better and better every day. But every once in a while, there's still, a glitch there, and I don't want that glitch to be there, obviously, when I launch it in Google Assistant. So holding off on this one. The web activation, boom, it's available on the internet. All you got to do is go to its own little page here where you can interact with it. Now, this is on your Dialog Flow console, so if you want it on your website, you're going to have to use the iframe here. And unless you have a programmer who can do it a different way for you. So Facebook Messenger, you're going to have to go through the steps to integrate it into Facebook Messenger. Very easy with any of the interfaces here. Skype, you're going to have to sign up through the Microsoft bot framework. It's free to do. It's free to integrate your bot, free to test your bot. It does take, however, some time to get your bot approved and get it available on the Bing search engine. But instantaneously available on Skype. I believe that on the Skype account, it's limited to 100 users or less. Okay, so there are some limitations there, but that is something that can also definitely be upgraded. So Tropo, Telegram, Keep, Line, Cisco, all of the home interfaces, and that is the reason why you want to build a language interface. Because in the future, people are going to talk to the internet. They're going to look at their screens, but chances are 5 years from now, I see Google Glass being a very real possibility for the majority of people. Not Google Glass, not that particular product maybe, but that type of an interface where you look where you want to go and you blink your eyes to click, or you talk to the interface and the interface delivers you information. But driving in your car, when you're talking, you say, hey, Google, and then you want to talk to your business, you don't have the capability of doing that. If I say right now to Google Assistant, talk to Chris AI, it's going to do a Google search. And Chris AI is not even listed in Google yet. So it's going to do me absolutely no good, especially if somebody's driving. They're not going to be able to look at their phone and say, oh, I'm going to click on this link. They're going to want to talk to an interface. If you're a pizza place, you're going to have to, in the future, have a language interface that's going to communicate with your customers through Google Assistant, through Alexa, through Cortana, through Cisco. This is an interesting platform. I'm going through this and trying to really figure out more about it. But the integrations right out of the box are very simple. So if we activate Facebook, for instance, we'll activate the web. And if we go back over and create a new intent, this will be a question about AI. How will language? How will a language interface benefit my business? How will language AI Okay, so asking those questions should cover pretty much all of the questions. How can AI benefit my business? So I would want to come up with my standard web response. So my web response, whatever that will be. And it's also possible, guys, to use webhooks and stuff to do a lot of really cool things inside of the regular Messenger box itself that we're not going to go over in this particular video. We may go over it in the future, but we're not going to go over it here. But in addition to the web response, you also might want to have a Facebook response. Now, one of the things I can do is, since I have a default response here, which is going to go to the web interface, I can also provide the default response for Facebook. Okay, but I might not want to do that. I might want to provide a different response for Facebook. So I'm going to click on Message Content, and here's the type of response I'm going to deliver. I'm going to deliver a text response, an image response, a Facebook card, a quick reply, or a custom payload. So there are a lot more options here right out of the box with Facebook than there are with the standard web interface. Okay, and this will also hold the same with Skype and some of the other integrations that you're going to do as well. So if I want to respond with an image, I click on image and I'm going to insert the image URL. Okay, it's as simple as that. If I want to respond with a Facebook card, I'm going to enter the image URL, the title of the card, the subtitle of the card, and then I can enter new buttons in the URL. Okay, so very convenient, very simple. Okay, it's a very simple, easy to follow. I mean, once you have your responses laid out, then you're good to go. It's going to communicate on your behalf with rich media over Facebook or over the other integrations, and you can actually do an integration for each one. Now, the interesting thing about Google Assistant is, out of the box, if I start putting multiple responses, so if I add like 30 responses up here for the output, so if I add 30 responses here, or 15 or whatever, and I just want to add message content of a text response, and I enter it here, Google Assistant is going to respond one sentence from each box, which is interesting. I thought that, because there are a lot of ways you could use that, you know, in certain situations where, okay, you give the main response and then you give a subtext response or a secondary response, but both responses show up in the same message. So that was an interesting thing that I found when you're integrating it with Google. My mind is in a brain lapse this morning for whatever reason, so forgive me with stumbling over my words and stuff like that, but I want to get these out for you guys because, first of all, I want you to see how complicated it actually is if you want to create a good language interface. And if you would like to be consulted, if you'd like to think outside of the box with me about how we can institute or integrate one of these into your business, I'll talk to you on the phone for an hour and won't charge you a dime. And we'll be glad to do that. You can get a hold of me actually by filling out the form on Chris AI, and I'll call you and we'll have a conversation. But this is not a complicated thing. It is complicated when you look at all of the different paths that you can take. But for most businesses, I mean, for a business interface that needs to communicate with Google Assistant, it's pretty easy, you know, for the majority. Now, if you have a restaurant with a bunch of different combinations and stuff like that, it's going to take some programming, but it can be done in 48 hours, you know, so it's definitely something that more people are going to take advantage of. I think it's a huge opportunity. It's definitely ground floor because, I mean, 99% of businesses don't have a language infrastructure that can communicate with a home interface. And that's just the very basics of it. Okay, that's not even going into the future, looking at future integrations and future technologies that are going to come out that are going to require that as well. The world is not going to go backwards. You know, I mean, unless something happens, we're not going to start going backwards with technology. We're going to move forward. And if you think about the future, what is it going to be? What is the internet going to be in 5 years? Really, because we're moving faster. The iPhone came out in 2007. You know, time is moving fast, but that seems like an eternity ago. And I guess it really was. I mean, now we're 11 years past that. But In 5 years, the technological leap that the iPhone has given us over the past 11 years, we're going to experience more of a leap over the next 5 years because technology is exponential. The growth of technology, the capability of technology, it is exponential. You have to be on the cutting edge. You have to be at the front end or you're going to get left behind.